Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Natural Born Hunter podcast. And tonight, we're going to start out with this. Phil, what is better than getting 10% off on your Mountain Ops purchase?
Getting 11% off your Mountain Ops purchase?
That's true. And what's better than that?
Well, we can walk this all the way up, but let's just go ahead and jump right up to 20% off, Will.
Yes, let's not annoy our listeners by going increment by increment till he gets 20%. If you want 20% off your next purchase from Mountain Ops, go to getmountainops.com, enter the coupon code NBH20 at checkout, and boom, you get 20% off.
I encourage you to do so. I love my Mountain Ops.
Hell yeah, they've got great proteins, pre-workouts. They got little BCA pills that I love, multivitamins. I mean, if you want to get jacked, just take a little Yeti, and you will be well on your way.
That's it, man. And you can't beat the new flavor of the Yeti. So check it out, everybody. Once again, NBH20 at checkout.
Also, we are able to provide to you a pretty sweet gift code from Maven Optics, which is NBH Gift. If you enter that at your checkout, they will send you some free Maven swag with your purchase. I mean, these are probably one of the hottest binoculars out there today. They're fully customizable, when it comes to camo patterns, colors, and not only that, they're great glass. I'm going to have Phil tell you a little bit more about that because he had a really nice, expensive pair of binoculars, and he sold them and got himself some Mavens.
Absolutely, man. I mean, when you look at us as hunters, we want the best bang for our buck, right? And not everybody has $1,500 or $2,000 or $2,500 to spend on a pair of optics. So why not get as close to the quality of what those $2,000 pair of binoculars are for half the price? I mean, Maven's put a excellent product together. They've eliminated the middleman and brought you, the hunter, the best product they can put together and kept it in a reasonable price. So, if you don't believe us, they're out here, they're finishing first or second in all kinds of awards when they're putting their binoculars out there for an independent review. They just took second in a recent review on their spotting scope. And there was over 30 entries into that review. All the big boys were in there too, ladies and gentlemen. And Maven, yes, on their new spotting scope, took second place in there. I mean, if that doesn't tell you, that they're putting out top-notch quality products, I don't know what is. Listen to me, it's money. Listen to Will, they're giving us and our listeners the opportunity to, look, if you're watching, check out this sweet hat I got on. I mean, that's a sweet hat right there I got with my binos, right? So check it out, man. They're going to kick you a free gift. I encourage you to support the companies that are really keeping the hunter in mind.
That's right. So it's for Mountain Ops, NBH20 for 20% off your purchase at checkout. And for Maven, it's NBH Gift at checkout. Try them out.
At mavenbuilt.com.
That's right. That's right. So get on over there and try them out. And now go on and enjoy the show.
I don't know, you're just a young kid looking around for a job to keep you out in the woods so you can go hunting, and there you go. Find a job in your small town and start working. That's how I got into it.
That's awesome. I've never heard of anyone with such like a unique job like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was just born and raised here in Ashland, and never even knew that the company existed. And a buddy of mine had started working on their production line, flipping jars or whatever. And, he's like, there's openings up here. So I went and checked it out, and they were already in business for, probably from before I was ever born.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. Walked in there, gave them my application, said I was a farm kid, looking for work, and they hired me.
So how do you go from farm kid looking for work, roasting peanuts, to back-to-back, two-time train to hunt national champion? Is it all the almond butter?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Could be. I don't know how that works. It's an interesting ordeal. I just, my job is what it is for this valley. You either do that or you're in construction, it seems like, or you move out of here to head towards Portland, whatever. And my passion and my love is just out in the woods and bow hunting. And so that job was perfect for me as a young man. I was working nights and could go out first thing in the morning and get my hunting in or do whatever and do a side job if I wasn't hunting season. So then as I got older working the nights and going out hunting and being late to work so many times, they're like, well, maybe you should think about being the early guy. So started going in there at 5 in the morning and I get out of it at 1:30, and then I hit the hills for the afternoon hunt. And discovered Train to Hunt along the way, just 2014, I think it was. And I was like kind of intimidated by it. I've always stayed in somewhat good shape, hauling hay and doing irrigation stuff. You're pretty physically fit, but here on the ranch we kind of went to mechanical operations, and so I started to have to hit the gym, and I kind of fell in love with lifting weights and running, and made it a lot easier up in the woods. So I guess from there and seeing the Train to Hunt, I was like, well, let's give it a shot. All my buddies were talking about it, and I said, what the heck, they're just talking about it. I'm just going to go do it. And my wife ended up signing up, and a good friend of mine, Drew Bailey, signed up. We went up to Eugene, met a good group of people, and shot some arrows, and took off on a heck of a meat pack. And I was like, man, kind of just fell in love with it and became a new motivator. And I'd never done any competition stuff, so Train to Hunt was like, it was a huge learning curve for me. It was the day you don't want to go to the gym, you're just thinking about Train to Hunt, and it motivates you just to go in there and work out.
What was your first opinion of just the group of people there? And because, like you said, if you hadn't competed much before, what was your first opinion on the atmosphere and what you were welcome to, I guess, with that community?
Well, we showed up, and it was kind of late coming in, and threw out our tents and crashed and got up, and I think drank a little too much coffee. We were all excited, and it was just a walking 3D course, and I'd never been so nervous. I was like I was stalking in on a bull or something. I'm shaking, and I'm like feeding off the adrenaline, and so the first bit of it, you don't really know what the competitive part is all about. You're just walking and shooting, and everybody was just real friendly. They just came up, everybody shaking hands, introducing themselves, and so we got through our round there, and then all of a sudden the meat pack comes up, and that year we just have one big steep hill at the range up in Eugene, and we had to get 200 pounds up the hill. And you could do it however you wanted, and most people were doing rounds of 100 up, down, you go back up empty, come back down, go back up empty, or loaded, and then back down, and you were done. Well, what I saw was just people cheering and just clapping and you get to yelling and motivating people, and I was like, kind of like, whoa, this is, completely different from any kind of competition or what I thought competition was like. It was like a family. Everybody was kind of rooting for each other. It didn't really matter if it took you 20 minutes or 45 minutes. And I knew it was something special when a guy went up the hill, an older gentleman, and he had previously talking to him. He said, I've trained to hunt it like changed his life. And after a little while, it's been 45 plus minutes. We're like, what's going on here? And probably 15 to 20 people went up the hill, you know, with no weight or nothing, just walked up to find out. And they all came back with, I think it was Mike Audette, and they came back with him, pushing him down to the bottom of the hill, cheering for him. And then he just unleashed and ran to the finish line. And I knew it was something pretty special. So, then, you know, it was my turn to go for the heat, and took off up the hill as hard as I could. And I came back down. I didn't even know what time I got, but Jesse Weiss came running up to me, and he's like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, you just put a big crosshairs on your back. And I'm like, okay, what? You know, and so I guess I got in the fastest meat pack time. And so then we had to go into day 2. And, you know, I ended up getting second place overall in the weekend and was pretty dang excited. It was exciting. It was just it was something pretty neat, something pretty special.
Yeah, you know, I agree with you, man. That my first experience, you know, Colorado, I think 2013, and that was before he had introduced the meat pack. But it was a challenge course and a 3D course when he first started, and it was the same thing, man. I mean, there was guys on the challenge course that were, you know, killing it, just great shape, and they coming through, and then there was people that were struggling, and people were just helping them through the finish line. Like you said, those people they'd find somebody, you know, a quarter mile or maybe, you know, a couple hundred yards out from the finish line, and they'd be running with them to finish it out. And having been competing in bigger archery tournaments, it wasn't like that. I mean, people would cheer, you know, when they had the pro shoot-offs and stuff, but other than that, there was no feeling of support from the vast majority of people there for just to see everybody do as best as they could. So I agree, man. I was taken to it right away when I first started competing, and so let's fast forward then. So this last weekend, like Will said, your second time winning nationals in the men's open division, man. So first off, congrats. But secondly, what's your take? You know, after having competed in many events and being successful again at the highest stage, what's your take from it from this last weekend's event?
Oh, you know, it was nationals is a little bit different. I guess it's just they really throw a lot at you, have a lot more tasks at hand that you got to complete, and you know, I still love it just as much as the first time I'd ever done it. You know, it was really hot out there, and people were kind of hiding out in the shade as much as they could to save themselves for their event, and I understand that. But, you know, every time I saw anybody going by and some spectator or whatever, another competitor, they were always rooting, cheering, running alongside, handing people water. And, you know, it just gets harder and harder each year. It seems like last year was a pretty good grind in the nationals there, and this year just the same. And then they added an extra day, just a little navigation course, I guess, just to keep. I was teasing Kenton. I was like, he stays up all night trying to get everything situated. And I was like, you just made this event, so we'll all stay up all night with you. And so everybody's just as tired as you the next day. But, you know, all in all, I really enjoyed it. You know, it's just a pretty good, cool community of people. Still get the family feel of things. You get to see people you don't see very often. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty good.
Obviously, there's a lot of people that compete in the regional events that don't make it, either whether they don't qualify or they just can't make it out to nationals. because of where it's located or whatever the situation is. And there's a lot of people that are curious as to what kind of stuff you're using in the event. So let's touch just for a few minutes, man. What kind of gear? I mean, what kind of bow are you shooting? What kind of pack you running? Are you one with using the trekking poles on the meat pack? No trekking poles. Talk a little bit about what the stuff that you're bringing to the event that helps you. Your tools of the trade, man. Tell us a little bit more about what you're using.
Okay. Well, we didn't really, nationals is kind of like I wouldn't say a guessing game. You get a list of what you need, and so I just assumed I needed a pack for running with some weight in, which I usually use a smaller day pack, and I've been using the Badlands Super Day pack for a lot of years, and it's just kind of turned into my train to hunt backpack or training backpack. I just beat the heck out of that thing and send it back to those guys, and they just fix it up and send me a pack back. I was shooting a Hoyt Carbon Element, and after winning nationals last year, I got my choice of a bow, and I didn't know what I should get, and I ended up talking to Wayne Endicott a little bit, and he's like, well, if they want to give you a carbon bow, I'd go with another carbon. They're worth more and they're great shooting bows. So I got the Carbon Spider ZT Turbo, and been shooting it ever since, and that's what I brought to nationals this year. I started using trekking poles. I'm using some Black Diamond Z-pole, I think they are, and I started doing that because in the qualifier last year, I was hoofing real hard, and I've never used poles in my life. And I was climbing the steep hill as hard as I could and just grinding it out. And I started hearing this noise behind me, and I never look back. If I'm going, I'm just going to look forward and just go. And this guy, John Pepper from down in the Bay Area, he was gaining on me. And talked to him quite a bit. The 2 years he participated, and he's like, man, you got to get these poles. It's like having extra legs, it's like 4-wheel drive. You can just take some weight off. And a buddy of mine got those Black Diamond Z poles, and they were too big for him, and he got them at a garage sale. They're like brand new. He got them for like $40. He's like, if you give me the $40, they're yours. And so I bought them and carried him for most of the hunting season after nationals last year, and I finally started breaking those things out and checking them out on the trail, and my feet weren't hurting as bad, and my knees and stuff, and coming downhill. And so then I started incorporating that in some of the training to hunt when I carry a load, and really enjoy the poles now. I mean, they're a big help. And but after nationals last year, I was using an Outdoorsman pack, and it's a great pack. I love it and use it a lot. But I won nationals, and they'd given me a pretty good gift certificate for Kafaru, and I ended up getting the Kafaru pack with the carbon frame, and I think it's the Timberline 2 or something like that. It's a great pack, and I started putting loads on that, and that pack is like really built and designed for a heavy load, and they rate them at like 100 pounds. And so after hauling some pretty good loads, I got a elk in Utah, and then was able to haul it off again in Oregon when I got home, and I hauled a huge amount of weight on my back with that pack, and it was comfortable. I mean, it made it easier, I should say. It's still hard, but it's comfortable. And and a lot of guys will run tennis shoes in the competition, or like a nice cleated kind of a running shoe. And when I'm doing the meat pack, I'm using boots, and the boots that are working for me are the Kennetrek hard scrambles. I've been beating the heck out of those for 2 seasons now, and they're holding together. But during the running course, I wear a pair of Solomons that are kind of cleated, lightweight trail running shoe. And what else? I guess I like using my binoculars for the 3D event. I like to maybe kind of pick out a spot and maybe look and see where the rings are at. The Nationals this year was kind of cool, rangefinder or no rangefinder. So I don't hunt much for the rangefinder. I occasionally will bring one with me, but I borrowed one for this competition because I knew that we were going to have that option, or they said that rangefinders were okay on the course, so I was using like a little Leopold rangefinder. But as far as gear-wise, I think that pretty much covers it for the train to hunt.
So I mean, what was your thought? How many events have you competed now? You competed in 33 this year, right?
Yeah, this year I went to Nevada for their first train to hunt. It was the first one of the year, and then I just did Oregon here in Eugene, and then was kind of committed to go to nationals. It's kind of a hard decision to make because it does cost you some money to go do these things. And, Eugene's close, and we're not far from Reno. It was just outside of Reno where they had the event. And, we teamed up with some folks and my wife and a couple good friends, and we just split the gas and go for it. And the close ones are easy, but then as you get closer to nationals, you're like, gosh, you could put that money elsewhere towards another hunt or whatever. And but after thinking about it and talking about it, my wife was really supportive. She really was pushing for me to go for nationals again. I just I was thinking about it. I'm like, it just wouldn't be right if or not necessarily that it wouldn't be right, but if you have an opportunity to defend a title, it's just kind of fair to go for it, try, and if you can complete it, great. And if not, and somebody can beat you, it just makes it that much more sweet for the person who wins, So.
Yeah. So, what was your take? What was your take on the changes? Starting with the shooting, with being able to use a rangefinder, and how did you approach it? I mean, were you planning just going in on, just taking it target by target, or were you thinking, well, if I can range it, I'm just going to range it just to make sure? I mean, what was your mind? What were you thinking going into it?
Well, the scoring was a little bit different, so I was like, man, there's an opportunity to make a little more points there by using no rangefinder. And so I just thought, once I found out it was you can make a decision at each target, I was thinking, well, this is awesome, because there's going to be some targets that you're going to have a pretty good feeling for the yardage, and if you're confident enough to step up and do it, no rangefinder. So we started getting on the course, and I was feeling pretty confident in my yardage judging until I hit, a couple targets. We had I think it was one of the targets we caught up with your group. There was an antelope up through this hole in the oak brush, and it's like I kind of thought I knew the yardage, but you start seeing a lot of targets somewhat open, and then you get into the brush and it throws you off. So it was kind of neat. I go ahead and use the rangefinder, and obviously you want to be in the vitals, because if we were missing anywhere outside of those rings, we were getting a -1. And but I was pretty happy with the day. I was able to keep my nerves down and judge a lot of the yardage without the rangefinder, and just started adding the points up a little bit better. So that was great. Just like any, it's just kind of real. It's like you get in on the animal, and a lot of times you don't really have time to range, and you just you're in that comfort zone. You're going to take the shot, but a lot of your farther distance shots that, and anything that I've ever experienced, you more than likely have time to actually use the rangefinder. So, like, definitely we shot at that elk that was bedded down, and I feel like I could have guesstimated and got a good shot, but it's like I told myself, real life, that bull's laying there, he didn't know I'm there, that's enough to hear. I'm going to range him before I shoot, so I went ahead and used the rangefinder on that. So I thought it was neat. It was well thought out. It was a good new twist to the train to hunt.
Oh yeah, I agree. I like the I like the shooter option because, like you said, in every situation's different. Every hunting scenario is different. I'm kind of with you. If it's 40, 42, 44 yards and in a hunting situation, if it happens quick, I'm usually okay with judging a target, judging an animal, and being confident and taking a good shot. But at that same time, if that animal doesn't know you're there and it's feeding or it's bedded, well, yeah, why not, right? Take the time,
Yeah.
get the exact number, and be that much more confident in the shot. So I really like that change. I really like the change in the bonus points too, because like you said, I made the mistake, and I just looking through that oak brush and with the hills, the ups and downs a little bit, my yardage was off on the first couple targets that I judged, and I paid for it with negative ones. And had I changed my mindset and said, well, I'm going to range find the first few targets, make sure that my yardage judging is on, and then go from there, I could have handled the course differently. But I enjoy the scoring. I enjoy the negative one on a wound because it's more realistic.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, man. I thought it was, even though I didn't, it took me a while to get over some bad targets that I shot. I really enjoyed the format.
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was out of the courses I've walked, it was kind of one of the more realistic hunting situation kind of a course. I gotta say my favorite target was the no peak target. And Jesse Wise is just saying, I will tell you it's not down there towards the freeway, but other than that, it's on you. You just got to make this marker, and you got 10 seconds to get the shot off. And gosh, I was able to come out and see that target immediately, and just real quick, like I just thought, this is what I'm shooting it for, and made a killer shot. And I kind of rushed it, but made a killer shot. And Jesse's like, "Dang, you shot that in 4 seconds." I'm like, oh man, I had a lot more time I could have aimed, So I just thought that was definitely my favorite shot on the course, and I just thought it was real good training for people. You might hear a bull screaming there, and you just kind of got to peek, and you might be caught. The chances right then and there. You're going to make the shot or you're not. And it was just real. It was just a real course. I enjoyed it a lot.
I agree, man. I enjoyed that shot too.
So any competition is a great chance to test yourself, right, and see what you're made of. And we'll have Trevor answer this question first, and then Phil, because I'd love to hear both your opinions on this. After this weekend, coming out of it, what would you say you've learned your biggest strength from it was, and your biggest weakness was?
I don't know what I could say my biggest strength was. I think maybe on this particular competition, my biggest strength was like my mental game. I was able to, everybody's getting nervous, but I was just not letting myself get too wound up. And in a hunting situation, that could get you just as bad as not being physically safe. You could be out there too deep in the woods and freaking yourself out in your own mind, or you could just make a bad shot. And so I think my biggest strength on this competition was just being able to mentally keep myself from getting too excited. Weakness, gosh, I felt like I probably did the best I've ever done in one of these train hunts, as far as my shooting and everything else. Maybe in maybe need to work a little bit on pacing myself a little bit, not getting ahead of myself on the meat pack. But still performed a pretty good meat pack. So I don't know if that answers your question very good or not, but.
Well, let me help you out, Trevor, because you're obviously a very humble guy, man, and I haven't met you this weekend and got to just hang out a little bit in between events. Will, he was solid in all 3 events. Okay, he won 2 out of the 3 events and took second in the other events. So there was not much weakness in Trevor's game this last weekend. And having competed in myself, this was my 7th or 8th train to hunt event. By far the best performance I've seen all around. Okay, so congratulations again. Like I said, you don't have to toot your horn, man. I'll do it for you because you had a hell of a performance. So great job there. As far as me answering your question, Will, I think that I got ahead of myself in the shooting, and it hurt me right out the gate with being confident in my yardage, but being that it was different terrain. A little bit more angled shots than I was practicing on my home range at home or here in Denver where I got to shoot. So instead of saying, okay, well, like I said, using the rangefinder the first couple shots, making sure that I was acclimated, making sure that I was double checking myself, I just took the risk and it bit me by misjudging the first 2 targets I judged by 4 yards and it wasn't good. So that hurt me. I think that when I finally kind of figured out that I was finally acclimated and I started shooting well, I think that the last 10 targets of the shooting round, I think I finished 53 or 54 out of 60 points possible. So I shot really well the second half, but I had dug myself a huge hole. So from then on out, I think that was just finding my shot again and just recognizing that, just trusting myself and relaxing. I had a great rest of the time shooting. I mean, I took second to Trevor in the challenge course, and I didn't have the fastest time. I mean, I was like the 4th fastest time or 5th fastest time, but my shooting made up for it, and I came back and I brought myself up a few places on that day too because I shot well. So it was tough, man. It was like I said, I think we were 4 miles and change on the meat pack, Trevor, something like that.
Yeah, I heard somebody say 4 point something, 4.4 or something. I don't know. I knew it was at least 4.
Yeah,
that's what Kenton was saying. 4 for sure.
It was long, and then even day 2 or day 3, I guess, on the challenge course where we did all the obstacles, most of the physical challenges, right there at the starting line, and then we started that hike up that hill again. I mean, it was a leg burner all weekend. It was a tough weekend.
Yeah, very tough. When we took off on the mountain part of that course, I remember just hiking and pushing for so long that when I finally hit that first target, I was like, "Oh yeah, we're shooting here." It almost felt like another meat pack, and so it was definitely a grind. It was, your legs were burning, like you said, the whole time.
Yeah, I thought about it, and I remember. I mean, Will competed in Colorado also when we did 200 pounds, 2014.
Yeah,
and
that sounds right.
And talking to the different competitors that have been doing it since that time and even before, you see it's interesting because it's tough either way, right? You make it 3/4 of a mile or a mile with 200 pounds, and there's no less suck in that than 4 miles with what we did this weekend. It's a different race, and it's a different it's just different what you got to tap into, and if your strengths cater towards that longer endurance race, then it shows. But I tell you what, man, it's great all around from the standpoint of just testing yourself with different types of weights and different distances.
Yeah, for sure.
Trevor, if you were to give somebody who came up to you and said, "I'd like to start training to hunt. I'd like to give it a try," what would your advice to that person be?
You know, I'd tell them just you gotta come out and try it. You know, you're gonna learn a lot of stuff along the way, but I think I would tell them to work a lot on cardio, and I would tell them to really work on executing good shots. You know, I've seen a lot of people do more quantity of shots versus quality, and I've been trying to do more of the quality part of things, because you can kind of push yourself to develop bad habits, you know, just shooting and shooting and shooting, shooting fatigue and everything else like that. So I would, you know, you do need some strength to do the train to hunt, but you really need to have the endurance too. You gotta be able to push yourself and push your lungs. So I would definitely, you know, shooting and doing a lot of cardio.
And is there anything you'd recommend, like, so if cardio, they're no cardio heavy, what would you say, hey, don't waste so much time on this. It's not that big of a deal as you think it'll be.
You know, I would maybe just, you know, I'd spend some time doing a lot of leg type stuff. You don't need like huge biceps. You don't need to be doing a bunch of bench press and getting a huge chest. You know, you got to just be able to, you know, basically do burpees, which doesn't, you know, you don't necessarily need to be able to bench 300 pounds just to do burpees, even if you're doing burpees with like 20 pounds on your back. Like, you know, it's going to end up gassing you so hard when you have bigger muscles that, you know, you're just better off doing, you know, lighter weight and more reps and more, you know, not injuring yourself trying to go so heavy. That would be my biggest recommendation. As far as like shooting, what's that?
What's your training look like day to day to get ready for this event? I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to know.
Well, it's been average, you know, 3 days in the gym. I meet up with my good friend Stephen Don. He's a personal trainer, and he kind of fell in love with the train to hunt part of things, and he trains kind of functional lifting. And so I'll go in and meet up with him, and we'll just push each other as hard as we can, doing obstacle kind of course style training. You know, just different odds and ends. We will do some lifting and stuff, but it's a lot of obstacle course type stuff that's more functional, I guess. That's how I would put it. But so we'll do that. But then I do a lot of things on my own where, you know, I can't sit around, or if I sit too long, I'm just going to fall asleep. I mean, I start work so early, I got to keep on the move, because as soon as I get a chance to get some Z's, I'm going down. But I'll take off for a good run just out across the street. I got a track and run for half an hour or something. But we'll typically meet up at the range. Sometimes we got several different folks that show up, and sometimes I'm just out there by myself. But I'll set up just a kind of a mini train to hunt course, and just work on gassing myself real hard, running with a pack with some weight and shooting. And then one of the tougher workouts that I do that I really, really enjoy is I live at the base of Grizzly Peak, and there's a big mountain here in our town, and I grew up right at the base of it, like a lot closer than where I live now. But I'll go up to that trail and also a sandbag in my pack, and just go for time. You know, the first mile, it's a little over a mile, is all uphill. There's some slight little bumps, maybe a little downhill, but I'll just push as hard as I possibly can and try to beat my time from the Friday before. And when I get up there, I'll drop my pack, and I have running shoes on there, and I pull my running shoes off, switch my boots to my running shoes, and I'll run the loop on the top. And that top is a little over 2 miles. And, depending on how I'm feeling, I'll push, as hard as I can, or just do a light jog. But the idea is for me to start the meat pack up to the top there without stopping. And then my break is just putting my shoes on. From there, when I start that jog, I tell myself I'm not going to stop until I get back to my pack. And there's been times when I'm damn close to stopping. And, what I mean stopping is just slowing down into a walk. But so far, I'll talk to the trail, and I'm just like, you're not getting me today, and I'll just push myself. And so I think that builds my mental strength, too, as much as my legs and my cardio. And then my reward is just to be able to walk down the trail with that pack, but no speed, just nice, steady, mellow walk back to the truck. And that's typically how it goes for me. Other than just working, sometimes I'm hauling hay. Hauling hay is a huge benefit. I don't know if anybody out there has ever hauled me hay, but that's a workout and a half right there. Itchy, sweaty, basically doing deadlifts or clean and jerk repetitively over and over and over. So that's another huge workout there. You could probably go to the local farmer and they'll actually even pay you to get a little workout in. Not much, but you'll get paid.
There's lots of farmers who I'm sure would love to have people show up and say, hey, can I haul hay with you today?
Just about every single one of them.
What does your diet look like?
My diet? Well, I try to eat clean, I just want to eat good, healthy food. It's hard to do. It's expensive to buy good quality food, but I take pride in harvesting my own meats. Occasionally I'll buy some chicken or something, but my goal and my whole idea in life is just to get out there and hunt. It's just what I thrive to do and was born to do. I know for a fact it's in my DNA that I'm just a born hunter, and I'm going to go out and do it no matter what. And so I eat a lot of elk and eat a lot of deer. I had a couple bad years on deer where I used to just be really, really successful on the blacktail, and for whatever reason, I guess because I've had the elk meat or bear meat in my freezer, I've been holding out for a special buck, and I'm by no means am I like a trophy hunter. I would shoot I want to shoot something that's mature-ish, or I just don't want to shoot like the little baby guy that just really hasn't had a chance to run around and experience life. So I've passed on a lot of deer lately, but mainly because I had meat in the freezer. But so I'll eat elk meat a lot, especially this last year. I was lucky enough to get one in Utah and then one here in Oregon. But I shot a bear a couple springs ago that lasted for quite a while, supplemented that in, and this year I harvested a really nice bear, and I'll make patties up. I do a kind of a sage blend. I take sage out of my buddy Drew's garden and grind it in when I do the grind. And so in the mornings, probably about 7, I'll eat a bear patty with a couple eggs, and then try to carry on to lunch. And depending on if I have leftovers from the night before, my wife always cooks these huge meals. It's just me and her, and I'm stuck with the leftovers, which is great. Don't live too far from home, so I'll run down and eat my good quality wild game lunch. Eat a lot of fish. We do a lot of fishing. So, just just try to eat clean. Don't go out and get the junk food is my motto.
So it's a lot of avoiding the bad stuff.
Yeah.
So
And I try not to put too many carbs in. Bread's good, but I mean everybody loves bread, but we try to hold off and not eat as much. So I don't really have like a strict diet. I'm a little bit older and was introduced to elk. I knew what they were and I always wanted to hunt them, but I was just too small and I was all on my own. And but once I started getting into the elk, I mean, I just love hearing the elk bugle. It's just something special about chasing an animal that's roaring out there, making all kinds of noise, and just how big they are and how big their racks are. So I just really I look forward to September every year. I just work my butt off and try to get out of town and do some hunting. I've been working the same job for quite some time now, and I'm able to pretty much take the entire elk season off. So some people say that's crazy because you end up working harder on your vacation than you do at work, but I love it. It's a good way to get out and enjoy life and just feel fresh after the elk season's over, like you accomplished something. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to say that if I could pick a favorite, I couldn't really do it because I'm just going to hunt whatever's open. You could be talking to me right now in the spring, and I'd be like, spring turkey's my favorite.
Yeah. No,
But,
fair enough, man. What do you have? What'd you draw this year?
Well, I wasn't fortunate enough to draw any tags myself. My wife did get a late season muzzleloader blacktail tag here in the Rogue Valley. We got some pretty good opportunities on just general season archery. The whole state's pretty much open, and we have elk here close to home. We got the coastal range where we got Roosevelt, and I haven't spent much time over there. I need to because I really would love to try hunting the rainforest over there, and but it's kind of instead of hunting right out of the we're sitting in one of the best areas for blacktail deer. So if I'm going to hunt here close to home, I'm typically going to hunt blacktail. But part of the whole journey is just heading for Eastern Oregon. We'll go up to the northeastern corner and get into the Rocky Mountain elk. They just bugle a lot more. The elk close to home here just don't really talk much. And we go up there because we know we're going to at least see them, and we're probably going to hear them. And here, close to home, it could be full season of hunting, and you're lucky to get into a herd once. So that being said, I did have one of my best friends, who's like a brother to me, go down to the Salt Lake sports show down there, and he put $5 in on a raffle ticket for a limited entry bull elk, and he was lucky enough to pull the tag. And we had a deal together. I went to Colorado. My first time going to Colorado, I went down there for a mule deer hunt, and he came along and he paid half of everything. And we went in there, and I was able to get my first mule deer buck, just a small 4-point, but I was happy. And so the deal was, when he drew, I was going to go with him, and well, he called me up and said, I got this bull elk tag, and I kind of want to cash in on that. I know I'm supposed to go on a deer hunt with you or whatever, but I'd rather use your help on the elk hunt. And he's, it was a hard decision because I love hunting elk, and I love running around and chasing them so much. But I agreed, that it would be it was a pretty good honor to be able to go with him. And so my plan is to hunt here for about a week, and then I'm gonna boogie out and go down and help my friend Camden on this limited entry bull elk tag. And it's in the Manti unit, which is really a good unit, and some big bulls. And then I started looking into the regulations down there, and Utah actually has some over-the-counter opportunities that I don't think are really probably not known as the greatest or whatever, but it's probably just as good or better than here at home. So I think I'm just going to purchase the general archery tag there. And there's a couple units that go into the extended, they call it the extended season, and it right there at the range where we were just at last weekend is part of some of that extended stuff. And so I'm just going to go actually hunt just right outside of where the range was. I'm going to go just check it out and see if it's something I want to do in the future, or hopefully get on some elk. And then, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and that season runs clear to like December 15th, and if I have an opportunity and can run down in November sometime, maybe around Thanksgiving, then I have a tag in my pocket. I'll just go visit my buddy and go give it another shot. So that's kind of my plan so far. Of course, we do have a late season archery. Our general season is good for the deer general season is good for November here, and that's typically when the bigger bucks will slip up and make mistakes, and I end up chasing them. So I'll hunt elk for September, and then November I'll go after the blacktail. And you know, we got a lot of bears, so I got a bear tag in my pocket, and already actually started off. I'm on a roll so far. I was able to harvest a really nice spring bear. I think I already mentioned that. So I got spring bear meat in the freezer, and I still got leftover elk. And well, hopefully if everything's good, maybe we'll be able to get close enough and stick another elk.
For sure, man. I mean, it's that time here too. I mean, we're itching. I'm ready. The meat in my freezer is starting to run thin, and I can't wait to get out there myself. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this year as well, and you having started the year off earlier with that bear, man. It's time to keep rolling, right?
Yeah, heck yeah. I didn't get to talk to you much. You know, it was pretty cool to run into you right off the bat. I just wanted to congratulate you again. That was a pretty good accomplishment on that ram. I saw pictures of that. It was something else.
I appreciate it, man. It was definitely one of the hunts that I've been looking forward to for a long time. So to get to draw it was pretty sweet.
Yeah. I've always wanted to hunt ram, and I'm sure it'll happen someday. I keep applying, but I've heard different stories from different people. I was just wondering what do you think about the meat? Is it pretty good eating meat?
I personally thought it was excellent. I thought that I didn't shoot a super old ram. I mean, the ram I shot, I think they said they figured him at 7.5 years old. And which was a mature ram, and it was it was good. It was 3/4 on one side, and it was busted off a little bit on the other side, but it was hard to explain because people have asked me, what does it taste like? And I was scared myself because I had some people say, oh, that meat tastes terrible. Well, once we got home and I had all this meat in the freezer and in a cooler, I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? Am I going to just make ground out of all this, or I'm going to cut steaks? So I just cut a couple steaks off the back strap and just salt and peppered it, man. Threw it on the grill, and that's kind of my go-to to see if I'm going to like meat or not. Because antelope is another one that's you flip a coin with antelope because sometimes it's terrible and sometimes it's good. It just depends, I think, on what they're eating. So I did the same thing with the sheep. Threw the steaks on the grill, and very cautiously took that first bite, and I was like, wow, this tastes great. And then I took another bite, and then I invited my wife to try it because she eats all the game meat that I kill too, and she really enjoys it, but she doesn't have any problem telling me which one's her favorite and which one she doesn't care for. And so I gave her a bite, and she said, wow, that's really good. So I cut everything into steaks. I had like 2 small roasts, and everything was steaks. I made 0 burger out of anything. There was a couple bags of chunks that just, if you're cutting certain steaks and you end up with small pieces, I just chunked it up, and we've used that for like a stir fry, or something like that, and it's gone, man. That meat was the first to go. I shot, I shot 2 elk last year, that ram and a whitetail, and the sheep was the first to go. It was really good.
Yeah, it's funny how the good stuff goes quick. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're talking about the antelope flipping the coin, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I did happen to draw an antelope tag too, so I'm going on my first antelope hunt ever in Wyoming.
Oh, right
To
on.
add to that.
When you heading out for that one?
I think we're going to end up going. We haven't set the time. They're so lenient with their dates there. We're thinking it's going to be around October 15th, which I was told is probably a pretty hard time to do an archery hunt. And for sure my bow's going to be with me. But we're also going to bring a couple of rifles. And if we can't get close enough with a bow and we see a nice antelope out there, sure, I'm going to probably pull out the rifle and take a shot.
There you go.
Especially, my friend I'm hunting with down there, he's in Utah. He builds custom rifles, and I had to go ahead and purchase one. He built me up a real pretty gun, and never even got to fire it yet. But so it's kind of being like, I really want to get done with the bow, but I also really want to try out this new rifle. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, man, a good hunter has many tools, so whatever it takes.
That's right.
Well, right on.
So, on to current events. We've talked a little bit about bear hunting. Trevor, did you get a chance to check out that video I sent over?
Yeah, I did. The guy chucking the spear.
Yeah, so big topic now in hunting, see it all over the social medias and regular medias, is the Josh Bomar spearing the black bear up in Canada. And this video has been out for a long time, right? If you're in the hunting community, chances are you saw it a long time ago, since the spring, I think. Trev, what's your opinion on the whole issue?
Hey, I say more power to him. If he's brave enough to sneak in there, and that's how he wants to harvest an animal, he wants to experience like how our ancestors had to do it, hey, I say go for it. The video I saw, it didn't seem like it was too gruesome to me. I mean, surely there's videos out there of a bear attacking another bear that is way more gruesome than that and just aggressive. I mean, he made a heck of a stalk, and he made a heck of a throw. It looked to me like a perfect, 10 ring, basically. He drilled him. I don't think that bear suffered at all. Probably a pretty quick, humane kill. And, I say more power to the guy for doing that. I'm sure, like most hunters, I'm sure he's aware of the regulations and everything else. I don't think he probably did anything illegal. If he did, then, well, shoot, he made a mistake and, learn from it.
Like I told Trev on the rifle thing, a good hunter has many tools and is proficient with many tools. And I think that, for him to be confident enough to take that out and then get it done, he had to have, practiced or been proficient with it. So I've got no issue. Again, if it's legal and the game laws say that you can do that with that method of weapon, then it's on the hunter. It's on the hunter to be ethical as they can with it and do the best job they can. And I agree with, like Trevor said, it. You know what? There's some people that want to have a connection with the way that our ancestors did things, the way that this world has kind of evolved into the give it to me now mentality and technology, and they don't know where their food comes from and everything else. The world's just getting too soft, and I think that for some people to want to step back or take a couple steps back and experience things like people did hundreds or thousands of years ago, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, well put, for sure. I couldn't say it any better. That's the way it is.
What if,
And it's weird that people attack certain people just and they gang up on them. It's just kind of, there's a ton of other people out there that spear stuff, and you don't see them getting drilled by I don't know.
It's the whole bear thing, right? It's got to be the bear thing,
Yeah.
the teddy bear. I don't know. Is that what I haven't seen the backlash? Will, is that what they're saying?
yeah, I think it's the bear thing, the spear thing, the way people have a problem with his reaction to it. And, it's a lot of, I think, non-hunters judging people on an experience they've never had in their entire lives. It's no surprise here sits three hunters who've all experienced hunting that all agree it's not that big a deal, right? Life is far more violent than I think people would like to pretend it isn't out there in the woods. And, we've all seen what it really looks like out there. And there's a lot of people who their knowledge of the animals, what they see in a Disney cartoon or at the supermarket, and to them, this seems like a crazy, crazy ordeal.
Well, his reaction was, like suited the situation just fine. I mean, that guy had to have been to the max on adrenaline. I mean, I've made some stalks on some bears, and the feeling you get, it's just something about a bear, I don't know if it's the fact that it's bigger than you, stronger than you, or whatever, or it's known as this, I don't know if it's necessarily known as dangerous, or dangerous game or whatever, but he's close. He's close to a wild animal. I mean, even being close to an elk or a deer, you just get that adrenaline. And sure, he turned around, was excited, and once you could see his reaction. Once he knew he was in the clear, he wasn't being attacked. Well, shoot, he was cheering, and he was proud of what he did. I gotta honor that.
Yeah, I think that's well put, and like you say, it's an experience we've all had. That post shot experience and I think what happens is a lot of people just have no clue what that's actually like.
Yeah.
No. Not that it's related, but you see some people that, they want to go out and run whatever. Maybe they're going to run a 5K or a 10K, or they're going to do something like a trail run. And maybe they don't want to do it with shoes on. Maybe they want to go barefooted because that's how people used to do it years ago, right? Well, who cares? If that's what somebody wants to do and it's legal and, it's somebody that's people have nothing better to do in certain situations than to poke fun or criticize other people for their decisions. And like I said, I think that there's too many people that are soft, that are lazy, that are getting used to things being done for them. And I think people need to go out and experience nature a little bit more, whether they don't have to hunt, they don't have to fish, but to get outdoors and just to realize that there wasn't always insulation and double pane windows and satellite dish TV and all that garbage. People, and I'm all for a lot of that stuff, technology moving forward, but people are forgetting, what it took to get here. And people are forgetting about the sacrifices some people made and people used to make every day. And it's just, like I said, it's turning into that mentality that everybody needs a ribbon and everybody needs the participation points. And I don't get it, man. I mean, I just wish people can just back off on certain things like that. I better stop before I start cursing.
Phil,
amen to that. You just nailed that one right. Nailed that right on the head. That was good.
You know what, Phil? I think on that note, we'd like to thank our fine sponsors, Mountain Ops. You can head on over to getmountaiноps.com to get 20% off your purchase there. I've been using the pre-workout a little bit more, still keeping it down to half scoops, but it's going well.
I got to try out the Peach Enduro this weekend, and it was money.
Wait, Peach Enduro?
Peach Enduro just came out.
When did that come
Peach
out?
Enduro just came out. Should be up online now.
I don't think I've even seen Peach Enduro, Phil.
Yeah, you gotta try it. It's money.
You ever try any Mountain Ops supplements there, Trev?
Yeah, I did a hydrate recovery. I'm not sure the flavor, and then one of the pre-workouts I've tried, and I try to limit myself on that stuff. Maybe I need to do the half scoop thing. That pre-workout stuff will just kind of, I don't know, gets me a little tingly.
It's the blood flowing, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
I stick with halves and quarters for workouts.
Halves and quarters.
Halves and quarters. Just
That's
a little bit.
Idea.
Just a little bite. Just a little bite out there. I don't need the full scoop. I like to, feel like I can live through my workout. It's a little too powerful for myself, what I'm used to. But if you
it seems like a good product and pretty nice folks from what I understand.
They are. They're tremendous guys. Really nice guys. Did you get to meet them when you went out there, Phil?
I did. I stopped by and seen Casey and Matt. Jordan was out, family matters, anniversary, I believe. But so when we stopped in and they had a little sample packet, and I told Casey I need to order some of that stuff. So we picked up a few bottles before we hit up the mountain.
And thank you for sending me those pictures so I could post them all over social media too, Phil. That was great.
The pictures of what?
Some new Peach Enduro. Help me drop some knowledge on people. No, just keep it all for yourself. Keep it under lock and key. That's great.
Hey, man. I tell you what, it tasted that good. I kind of had a hard time sharing. So I did share with Matt Anderson a little bit. I let him have some peach. But, hey, nonetheless, you're looking to get some NBH20 at checkout and get you 20% off your purchase.
That's right. And if you head on over to mavenbuilt.com, you can get yourself some free swag when you enter the code NBH gift. That's right. And you get yourself some free swag. I see they got some new hats and shirts coming out, so maybe that'll be something they throw in there when you order a nice pair of custom binoculars. Phil, tell the people how awesome these products are.
They're money, man. Like I said, I really got to put them to the test when I went up scouting 3 weeks ago. And I had the spotter and the 11 buys, and from a clarity standpoint, they're as good as anything I've used. And being that they're not quite half, but about 60% of some of the equivalent products that I've used, and they're as good. I'm sold on the Maven stuff. Super happy to be using their product. I've got the spotter. They've also got 15s out right now. And they've got some other stuff down the line that's going to be exciting to see moving forward, of which can't say anything to yet, but super happy with the Maven products. Well built and great people over there at Maven.
Those 15s look awesome. Have you checked them out yet?
I have not been able to. No, when Brendan came through town, they didn't have them ready to go yet. So
I'm excited for those.
Yeah,
it's the little things in life. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on, and again, congratulations in your second national championship victory at Train to Hunt this year. It's an impressive feat, man. It's sure having competed myself, I know how hard it is to win. It's tough.
Well, I appreciate that a lot. It was a lot of work, and I was able to pull it off, and it really hasn't quite settled in, I don't think, yet. My body's letting me know, though. It's still a little bit sore.
No, I hear you there, man. But yeah, like I said, it was great to meet you this weekend. Got to hang out just a little bit, but hoping to see you again next year, man. At some point, somewhere at one of the events potentially, and just get to do it all over again, because it's great to be able to, like I said, apply ourselves in a bow hunting-esque kind of competition. So a lot of fun, man.
There's another competition you can travel to in Colorado too, if you're feeling the itch for a little more competition. The alpha bow hunting.
Yeah, we'd love to have you out for that, Trevor.
Oh, for the Colorado you talking about a Colorado qualifier?
No, we've got another event we started this year. It's called the Alpha Bow Hunting Challenge. We'll send you some more info. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
get you some more info on that. It's a lot of
Cool.
fun, a little more shooting based, not as much fitness based, but it's nonetheless, man. It's some head to head competition, and it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah. No, it's just kind of an honor to be part of Train to Hunt and maybe even some other type events, because it really is it's for the greater good, right? We're just trying to be more ethical and better, and just passionate and love what we're doing. So I would definitely send me some information, and see what I can do. Maybe I can fly out and shoot some arrows with you guys.
that'd be great, man.
Hell yeah. And hey, it wouldn't hurt for you to get on Facebook, Trev.
Oh yeah. Maybe one of these days. I just started texting, maybe a year ago.
Yeah, we're gonna work you up from texting to Facebook. Maybe even someday you'll get an Instagram account.
Yeah, Jesse Wise hassles me pretty good about that.
I bet he does. I see people reaching out to your wife just to try to get a hold of you. Hey, that reminds me, Ben Greenfield's looking for you too. So if he hasn't got a hold of you, I'll send you his number.
Okay, sounds good.
Right on, man. It's good to catch up, and congrats again. So that's all I got here, Will.
So on that note,
All right.
wake up, chase your dreams, repeat.